Did you know that Silver and Gold are the most populated ranks in Valorant? Everyone thinks they deserve more, but almost no one proves it. As a matter of fact, 43% of ranked players are stuck in between Silver 1 and Gold 3. So let's talk about why this is the case. Players get stuck in these ranks not because they're horrible, but because they're not improving consciously. For an example, an average gold player usually improves their shooting mechanics, movement, game sense and decision making subconsciously through just grinding out the ranked games. They don't think about their next move, they just go with the flow. Throughout the last 5 years that I've been coaching players, I noticed that an average person that is stuck in these ranks almost always has one of these three problems. Very poor mechanical consistency, autopilot decision making, and a very delusional mindset such as, I deserve a higher rank. In this video, your Radiant coach is going to teach you how to get over these hurdles and how to continue ranking up in Valorant. Now let's talk about the problem number 1, the mechanics. On my live streams, I always have viewers which claim that gold players can out-aim even some high elo players, which can maybe happen in 1 out of 10 gunfights because of Valorant's RNG mechanics. But in reality, these players often have a decent raw or static aim, but that doesn't mean they're mechanically strong. The issues are subtle but very basic, such as, but not limited to, bad strafe timing, poor crosshair placement, zero aim discipline, a lot of panic spraying, non-existent recoil control and reset habits. When was the last time you specifically trained one of these skills, but with full focus on actually fixing some of these problems? If you're honest with yourself, the answer is probably never. Because most players will just mindlessly queue hundreds of deathmatches or just randomly shoot the practice bots, but that is not an actual aim training routine. Lucky for you, the fix to all of this is very easy if you're disciplined enough. Down in the pinned comment, you can find a private routine that is focusing on the most common mechanical problems of an average player. But keep in mind that you should train with purpose and intent. Don't just warm up, because practicing on autopilot is useless, and you might as well spend that time doing something else. Before we continue, this video is sponsored by Valorant Tracker TRN, which you can download for free by using my link from the description. This application allows you to analyze yourself and to always understand on which fields you can improve as a solo queue player, and in my private coaching sessions, this is the first thing that I do for my students. But this software is extremely useful to analyze your teammates and enemies as well. During your live games, based on these statistics, already at the start you can see which players are the weakness of yours or enemy team, which can increase your chances of winning if you use this data in the smart way. They also have integrated guides and lineups that can be extremely useful if you're learning new agents or if you simply want to increase your game knowledge while you're actually playing the game. Even though this video is sponsored by Valorant Tracker, I truly believe that this software can give you an advantage in your ranked games and it can help you to improve faster. Which brings us to the second problem. Silver and gold players usually know what they should do, but they stop thinking mid-game and revert to autopilot when they are in the same panic mode. They usually play the same positions every round, they are rotating late, they are reactive rather than proactive, and do the same executor strategies regardless of the info that they've got from the previous rounds. You can easily spot these autopilot signs yourself if you notice that you're losing multiple rounds in a row by making the same mistake, you're positioning in the identical way every single round, or your utility usage is very random and it is not backed up by any information. It can be challenging to break these bad habits without a coach, especially if you spend too much time in these ranks. So here's one big tip how you can solve this problem. You need to set smaller micro and macro goals for every round. For an example, have a plan for the pistol round on both sides, based on team compositions and which map you're playing. Just create some kind of a general idea where you either call an execute for your team or you prepare a very specific setup on defense. Then, based on the outcome, create some general plan for the second round. For an example, if you win the pistol, figure out how you want to play the next anti-eco with your team and what should you buy. So the main macro goal for that round can be prioritizing team play and refrag potential because we can abuse the economy advantage. The main micro goal can be deciding which weapon you want to abuse in order to have the highest chances of easily winning that second and the following bonus round. For an example, you can get a Bulldog and Heavy Shield if you're playing on attack of long-range maps such as Breeze and Icebox. Maybe you can get Stinger and Heavy if you're pushing fast on claustrophobic maps such as Bind. Or if you're on defense, get an Outlaw to easily kill the enemies that most likely won't have any Heavy Shields. If you lose the pistol, however, you need to have a plan for that as well. If you planted a spike and lost the pistol round, maybe you can force buy on attack and try to brute force the second round. If you decide to eco, figure out if you want to spread out and gamble on 50-50 fights, which is not a bad idea if enemies were overly aggressive, or is it maybe smarter to push somewhere together as 5? Then on defense, your macro goal can be reading enemies and predicting where they will push in the next round, while your micro goal can be creating some kind of a cheesy setup such as a classic shorty to potentially get some free kills which might win you that round. Whatever you decide, the main goal is to have some kind of a plan or a general idea before those rounds even begin. That is why I always recommend to every player that is serious about their improvement to make some kind of a ranked playbook. Basically a visual document that you can use during your games that is always reminding you of what you should do in a specific round, on a specific map and in a specific scenario. An example of this document you can find in the pinned comment, and on my Discord server for coaching you can find my own ranked playbook where I'm covering the best Radiant tips, tricks and strategies for every Valorant agent and map. And yes, there is a huge difference between a good and a bad plan, which is the whole purpose of private coaching and public guides such as this one. But keep in mind that even if your current pre-planning is bad, at least you're not autopiloting and you're forcing yourself to become proactive, to think in your games, to be present, to use your brain. After a few failed attempts, you can easily analyze and improve your strats while slowly adding even more tactics for other gun rounds. This mental practice will definitely make you improve and rank up faster. Which brings us to the final problem. Players in silver and gold usually think that they deserve more, but they don't have the skill to prove it. They talk the talk, but certainly do not walk the walk. This is the most common delusional trap that is present in all ranks, but especially in these two. Players believe, I'm better than gold, I just get bad teammates. Or, if I played seriously, I would rank up easily, when they indeed play seriously 24/7 and try to win every single match. This bad mindset creates tilt and it is a huge mental block for improvement. It is great for self-stroking that big ego of yours and avoiding that pesky feeling that you have even a molecule of responsibility for losing your games. But if you truly want to improve and rank up, this is the worst thing that you can do to yourself. For an example, this graph is showcasing the skill gap between Valorant players. So as a silver and gold, you still have plenty of skills to improve and very long journey up to Ascendant, let alone Radiant. If you are stuck in some rank, you're not stuck because of others. You're stuck because you can do something better and you have a lot of room to improve. Which is not a bad thing. We all have to start somewhere and we all have different roads ahead of us. And no one can become a professional in a matter of few weeks. There are even some pro players that have been stuck for months in the same rank, but they were actively working on their problems in order to fix them and to become better. Just remember that your progress stops when you think that you deserve more, when you think that you know everything, and when you start blaming others for your mistakes. I've been Radiant in this game 23 times since closed beta, and I know that I still have lots of room to get better, and I still have to practice and learn on a daily basis. So do you really think that there is nothing better that you can do? Here is one simple example. You're playing a game, you're down 8-12, you press tab and you see on the score that you have 20 kills and 14 deaths. You are actually top fragging. Surely it's not your fault that you're losing, right? Well, there are 40% of games that are truly out of your control, but 60% of games you lose because you could have done something better. Also, stats are absolutely meaningless if you're not controlling the outcome of your rounds and games. Impact is the only thing that matters. Some of these kills might be eco-frags or useless kills after the round was already over. Maybe you took a lot of 50-50 gunfights where you get a kill, but then immediately you get traded and your team is still 4 versus 4 like you did absolutely nothing. Essentially, if you're not creating some kind of an advantage for yourself or for your team, and you're not closing out the rounds and games yourself, your solo queue impact is negative. You cannot blame your random teammates for losing any round in which you're basically dead or in which you had 0 impact. So the solution for this is having a healthy ego and doing a lot of self-reflection. Yes, you should enter every match with solo carry mentality and with full confidence, but at the same time you need to understand that you're not perfect. You're never perfect. Record your games and try to analyze some of them at least a few times every single week. Simply ask yourself, did I make the right decision in this situation? Why or why not? What is the reason behind my deaths and how can they be prevented in the future? Was my positioning optimal for this round and how can I improve it? Did I utilize my agent's utility to the full potential? Did I react fast enough to enemy movements or information? Could I have communicated better with my team? Was my economy management optimal? Did I correctly adapt my playstyle based on the type of teammates and enemies that I've got in this match? How did I play clutch situations and what can I do better in the future high pressure rounds? What mistakes did I repeat and how can I avoid them in the future? What am I doing that makes this game harder for me and my team? So you should never say that you deserve a higher rank because nobody cares what you think. You need to prove it with your actions and with your improvement, obviously. It might be a tough pill for you to swallow, but silver and gold are not elo hell. They're simply the true low elo, a skill checkpoint, and your current skill levels are not high enough to move forward. While most of the community would agree that elo hell are actually ascendant and low immortal, which we will talk about in the future videos. So if you don't want to miss any content, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and my dear tricksters, thank you for watching this one. Cut, baby.